Hey friends, this is David Bedrick, and I'm the unshamer person, and I do something a couple of times a month. I miss the beginning of the month because of a move called UnShamed Live TV. Hey friends, great to see you on here. Tanya and Nana and Shama and Nowensky and Safko. Hey, great to have you here. We're going to be doing an Unshamed live session for people. So those who are interested and want to learn, or those who don't have funds to join other things, can get some of the live experience in addition to the ideas that I offer. There's so many ways to get things, some of my ideas and approaches without financial cost. It always costs some kind of energy and commitment and desire to learn, of course, and a relationship, hopefully, of respect and care. Those are not financial costs, but most of them can offer that back and forth with each other. I've written about 90 essays for Psychology Today, so if people Google my name and Psychology Today, they'll find essays on all kinds of things, including shame and addictions and some of the social issues and racism, etc. People can watch videos on YouTube, come to Instagram or Facebook and get lots of information. I have 3 books. I'm working on my 4th, and those books are probably about $10 on Amazon. You can find them at other booksellers. And then there's programs. My most recent program is called Unshamed Monthly Medicine, and that was also an attempt to make a low cost, it's $45 a month, to come to like a 3-hour session where you can ask questions and model, and you could also get my help there and in front of other people so that we can make it educational. So I often start the Unshamed TV live with lines from Galway Canal. It's a poem, and the poem is called St. Francis and the Sow, and Galway Canal says, the bud stands for all things. The bud, that means everything can be looked at as something that can flower, and that's the essence of unshaming. I look at your depression, I look at your sore throat, I look at your chronic physical health symptoms, I look at your anger, your anxiety, your relationship difficulties, your money struggles, and I look at that as if it's a bud. That means if we gave it the right kind of witnessing, and you'll see me model that, then this thing can become something of itself. And in a way, it becomes the medicine for the problems people bring forward. I say, I am depressed, and I say, let's look at that as if it's a bud, David. How do we do that? We go deep into that depression, walk down into that depression until we feel its nuances and experiences, and then help it become more of itself. I don't mean more depressed, more of the essence that's inside that depression, and then the depression unfolds into an intelligence, and everything, in my belief, does that because we are part of nature, and nature does that. Things unfold and flower, then wither, and they die, and there's organicness to that. There's a wholeness to that, and that wholeness is healing. So today, usually a person comes on that I haven't spent much time with or any time with, but today it's somebody that I know and has been a student of mine, and someone I've also been inspired by and learned from, but she volunteered to be here with us for me to practice this unshaming approach in public with you all. So we'll be doing that. I never know what a person's going to bring. I tell Kieran Friesen, the woman who produces this, don't tell me what the person wants to talk about, because I want my eyes fresh. Do you know what I mean? Like if you go to look at a flower for the first time, you don't know what it is, and your eyes just marvel, and they look and they notice ways in the pistils and the pistons and the flowers and the softness. Once you start to see something, you think you know it, and then the unshaming is not as powerful, actually. Good to know about things, but unshaming is a raw and pure thing. Okay, I'm going to find Sarah. And Sarah, if you could, what do? You say, I want to enter, I want to come on. I can't remember how that goes. Make a request to join. That's what I want you to do. And I'll try to, oh, there she was. Okay. Hang out. I think you should come on in a moment. I'm hoping. Let's give Instagram a second to do its thing. Yay!
Hi.
I recognize you.
I know.
How did you get here?
To be here. I know. I'm so excited for this today. Thanks for having me, even though I know you pretty well.
I know it. Well, Kieran is, I just do whatever she tells me, basically. She's the boss of the whole thing. So, she's like, oh, I have a really good person. Her name is Sarah. And I'm like, Sarah who?
Cool.
So,
Great.
Okay. I'm just setting up my phone so it's doing the proper thing. All those different details.
Mm-hmm.
There we go. Is that the right way? That's more or less right. Okay. I think that's good. Sarah!
David!
You look different from what I remember you. You must have changed.
I must have. I try not to do too much of that, although, yeah, I don't usually do myself up, but I thought I'll do it for the UnShamed TV today. I'll do myself up a little bit.
Thank you. How do I look? I parted my hair on the other side.
It's a good look. Great. I love it.
It's amazing. I got to show you and other people the view out my windows. Yeah.
Santa Barbara is a magical, wonderful place.
These are like double doors outside my office, so then they're just looking at the mountains and the birds and the stuff. So that's pretty.
I love it.
I feel very fortunate at the moment. Let's see, my thing is getting. Okay, I'm gonna stop blabbing, everybody, and do what we're supposed to do.
All right.
What's on your mind? Tell me anything. How you're doing, and then what's you want to look at together. Whatever.
It's funny when I first messaged Karen some time ago. I said I think I want to do money stuff, but my money stuff is really good now, so I have something totally different.
I'm that good, Sarah. Like you could just think you would want to work with me and think Just send me. Just go to PayPal, send the money. And we never have to.
Yeah, for sure.
Money is going good for you.
Yeah, and that's part of what I want to lead into. Like my life is, I think, I mean, in terms of both my inner world and on paper, my life is really beautiful in a variety of ways, and I feel like I'm in a great relationship and I'm doing like the best work I've ever done with people, and all of thank you, and all of that is coming together in such a beautiful way. And I thought today what we could talk about is my spiritual life. I'm gonna just say a few things about it, and then I know things will just unfold in a nice, or maybe not nice, who knows, but some kind of way.
They will. They will.
So I used to have like a very rich spiritual life, and like I don't want to say that it's not rich now, but I feel, I'll say this, from the time I was a young adult to maybe when I was in my early 30s. I was kind of participating in this, I don't want to call it a cult exactly, but it was a very cult-like kind of new age spiritual group. And the reason I call it culty is because it was kind of like you were either in or you were out. It was very difficult to leave. There was a lot of pressure to, and it, I don't know. I can remember, especially like the last time I left. I mean, I was like terrified. I didn't want to talk to anybody. I knew that those relationships would be over, like with the people who I had been in that kind of community with. And just, I go, yeah. Anyway, so ever since then, I just have really felt like I don't really know like what my spiritual life is anymore. And I don't, there are a lot of, you know, there are a lot of communities where spiritual bypassing is like a thing that happens pretty often. And there are a lot of, I would say, kind of toxic dynamics that I don't really want to be involved in. Right. So I'm not really looking for like fellowship, but I want to be connected to that, I don't know, divine spark in myself. And I have these beautiful moments with clients, for example, or even just, you know, living my life where, like there's beautiful synchronicity and really deeply connected moments with people. And yet it's like, I feel like something blocks me from really enjoying it. Another thing that I'll say quickly is almost a year ago, one of the leaders of that culty group passed away. And I don't know, I really thought I was in a great place with that whole experience and that time in my life, but something about that woman's passing, like it was like floodgates of grief opened up for me. And it really felt like I felt very angry about a lot of things. I unfriended every single person on Facebook that I had ever known, like through through that community, because I just felt like for a long time I just didn't have clarity in my life around it. And I think the unfriending was kind of like, well, I just really need to be clear. Like this was a cult, like this was culty. And a lot of people had kind of come and gone from that program or that community. But I feel like a lot of those people were still kind of confused and not really like, you know, calling it what it was. And I just didn't want to be involved or connected with anybody who I felt was still like not really
when you were in that when you were in that group, before you were thinking maybe this is culty and maybe I shouldn't be here, when you were in and wanting to be in, see if you can go back to, there's two things I want to ask you about. That's one thing that needs some unshaming because it's being seen as only a negative experience. I'm not saying it wasn't. And I'm saying that you should, no, it was really good. I'm sure it was, I don't mean that. What I mean, Sarah, is that some part of you must have wanted something. I'm not thinking that was a good place to get it, right? I'm not trying to defend it. I'm trying to defend you, because when, you know, I could be hungry for the depths of life and be eating lots of ice cream. I'm not thinking ice cream is the way to get it, but I am thinking that I must be hungry and that's how it's showing up. So I'm thinking you must have wanted something and it showed up that way. I want to make sure that part of you is held as sacred, not the group, but that part of you that wanted something. I want her to be, I don't want to lose her just because the group is not the thing, not the right medicine.
I knew that this was going to be the best thing to bring to this day, because I feel like I've lost, like I feel disconnected from that. And I feel like it feels shut down a bit. And but I love
when you were there, if you could go back, if you could, we're going to take the negatives about the group and put them aside. Again, not because it's not true. I'm not thinking at all, maybe you should go back to something like that. I'm not thinking that. But if we can put the this is what was no good about it aside, and you can go back and see Sarah in it, wanting to be there, into it.
Mm-hmm.
And see if you can feel it, that would be great. If you can't feel it, I can help you with that, help you in another way. But see if you can feel in your body, this is what it was like. Not the ideas, not why it was right or wrong, just what it felt like. Mm-hmm.
It felt like, so in terms of like grounded sensation, I would say there was like this, like a buzzing, tingle of like, and I think something like, oh, I have this interest in growth and like blossoming and becoming.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I remember being really interested in. Like,
Yeah.
I'm going to become, I wouldn't have said it in those words at the time, but there is this feeling of like, I'm going to become me, like somehow.
Yeah. That's so important. Both of those are important. The buzzing and tingling, those are really good sensory grounded, because we could go to the body, as you know so well, because you do those things. We could go to that, and that becoming you. Both of those are important. We could go either way, but let's stay with that becoming you, because you mentioned it twice. The desire or wanting, this thing that lives inside of you that says something like, I want to become me. Mm-hmm. Just hang out with that for a second and believe in it with all of your might. There's something in me that has an energy, a feeling quality. And if I put a name to it, it might not always have those words. It's like it wants to become itself. She wants to become herself. Mm-hmm. See if you can feel into that impulse to become yourself. Mm-hmm.
Wow. It's been a long time since I even like
Mm-hmm.
hung out with that part of me, let alone, well, thought about it, let alone hung out with it.
Yeah.
It's like, it's, I want to say it's childlike in a way. It's got like a playfulness to it. And it reminds me of how I felt like I grew up kind of close to the woods, and I would play in the woods. And that was like, my family didn't go to church, but that's what felt like being in the presence of that bigger something, and I wanted, like, I've always wanted more of that.
Yeah.
And
when you think of that
yeah,
child in the moment, how old would you say that child is? I know she could be a whole range, but what comes up in your mind now? Is she 2? Is she 14?
I would say she's probably like 5 or 6, maybe 6. Let's go with 6. Like, she's old enough to go out in the woods and play and like find her way back easily, but it's also kind of like, I mean, yeah, like, it's funny, like kids today probably, some kids maybe, but like, it was wild how we were able to just do that. Our parents just let us, and I loved that. I loved that I got to experience that. But yeah, she feels like definitely younger than that 9-year-old me who started to feel really wounded by the world and stuff like that. So she's like that pre-wounded child,
So deep.
for sure.
It's really deep what we're talking about. The child is so essential to that. The child, and I don't mean the child meaning the wounded child, as you're saying, that we have to like heal, and and I need to reparent my inner child because she's broken and wounded. I don't mean that. I mean the child who already is connected to things in their natural way before life happens to them. You're accessing that, and that's a very important thing. The child pre-wounded, I sometimes say. The child some people say the child, the very old person next to death, and the child, the very young child, are the closest to the divine, because the child just came from there, quote unquote, and the old person about to die is going there. Some people, like poets, say that, right? So, but maybe it's literally true, but it's a sense, right? That this world is not so much part of it. The middle world, now it is. They kind of like, we're practical. We're cleaning the dishes. We're getting your kids to soccer practice, and I'm back, balancing my checkbook, But that very young child, not there yet, and the very old person, I don't give a shit about the checkbooks. They're not going to take any of it with them anyway. They're about to close their eyes, and the whole thing goes. So that spiritual life, the life beyond this, the stuff of this world that we're dealing with, very close to that child, our initial connection with it. And for you, it's like wandering in the woods. Now, if you were to close your eyes and wander playfully through those woods and look around in your mind's eye, and as you're doing that, feel how your body would start to move a little bit, like the 6-year-old walking through the woods. Would her shoulders do this? Would her hands do that? Would her head do this? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's interesting because there's this like slow kind of like rocking sensation in a way, but then there's also this really like yay!
Yeah,
like
that
kind
part.
of feeling too.
Yeah.
It's like
That's
really
the more
excited.
forbidden. That's the more forbidden
too.
part. That's the part that shame has hidden. The more forbidden part. The yay. Mm-hmm. The something. The hands going up and the yay. And let's do that like 3 or 4 or 20 more times. Or I don't know how many. At least 2 or between 2 and 10,000 times more. And and go for that. Do the hands and the yay. And let me see what you're doing again. Go ahead. Yay. Mm-hmm.
like that.
I love that. And we're going to do it again. And your head turned a little bit to the left, and you started moving, and your hands go up. Go ahead, put the hands up. Mm-hmm. And the head and your eyes closed. Great. Mm-hmm. And then, and stay there for a moment. Forget about everything. Forget that we're on Instagram and all those weird life things. Mm-hmm. And just know that, feel her arms reaching up, and her body looks like it's going upward too, and she's moving back and forth just gently or a little bit, and she's going back, she's swaying. Go ahead, keep the swaying, and let that swaying back and forth, and the hands going up. Mm-hmm. And if those hands were not human hands, they could stop where they are, or they could continue extending like a magical character. Would they keep going up and up and up, or would they stop right then? Just imagine your body is not only a human body, but it's a body that could be alien. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's like, I think they would just, like, honestly, I feel like they would, like, keep kind of doing that, but then, like, every time they went back up, like, then it would, like, flower more so, if that
Beautiful.
makes sense. Like,
and when your hands go up, would your whole body go with them, or would your feet stay on the ground and your hands go up, or would your whole body just kind of take off? Try it again and see.
I feel like maybe my own, like, let me see if I can feel into that. There's definitely a rootedness, like I'm not just like floating away.
Okay.
But yeah, I almost feel like a flower, like one of those flowers that like just grows and grows. I don't even know what to picture, but something that like grows really tall and deep roots in the ground for sure. Like
feel the deep roots, and let your hands keep growing, and then imagine they could grow beyond human hands, so that the flower and you becoming taller and taller, and 7 feet and 10 feet and 15 feet, and you're just going up and up and up. Mm-hmm. Yeah. What's it like being flowered up so tall, so high, with that hee and your energy like that?
It's like I can see so much, but I can also feel what it's like to be like connected to the ground and even be under it at the same time.
Wow. Wow. And that special feeling, if you can put your hands down and go up one more time, and that
Mm-hmm.
special sound that you make when you did that.
Yay!
Yay! Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yay! Uh-huh. Let's do that a few more times. Yay!
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 Uh-huh.
Yay!
Yay! Yay! Stay 6 years old. Yay! And
Yay!
yay! Uh-huh. Wow. And I would say to that 6-year-old, what are you feeling, 6-year-old? You look really happy. How would you describe it?
I'd say I feel bubbly and big, but it also feels okay like being in a small body because I know I'm big
You're
and
so
I feel
big
so
and bubbly.
free. Yeah.
You're big,
Mm-hmm.
and the bubbliness is so important. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And go back one more time. We want to get to know this place because it's not known enough. The hands go up,
Mm-hmm.
big, 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 and you're so big and bubbly. You're not just big like, hi, I'm a giant. Yes, I'm a very big person. I have a lot of power. That's not how you're being. You're being like a child. The
Mm-hmm.
child's bigness. People don't see the bigness of the child because children look small, but sometimes they're much bigger
Yeah.
than adults.
I,
Mm-hmm.
I
Mm-hmm.
felt big as a child. Like I never felt small until, later
Yeah.
probably. But I felt big. Like I felt big, but I also felt like, like not bigger than the trees, right? But like I felt big somehow
Bigger than the
as a
tree.
child.
Mm-hmm. And bubbly.
And bubbly,
As big
yeah.
as
Mm-hmm.
the trees, maybe even bigger than the trees.
Mm-hmm.
And bubbly. That bubbly feeling, that's something that's still a little bit edgy. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody has an idea that spirituality is not like a bubbly child. Somebody has an idea that it's different than that. Somebody has an
Yeah.
idea that it's like I'm meditating and I'm reaching nirvana. But this is not like that. This is the child's knowing, not the child's like the person who's developing. This is the child's knowing what it's
Mm-hmm.
like. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And if there was a song that went with your bubbliness, what would it be? See if a song comes to mind.
Oh, you know what it is? It's okay, when one of my sons, when he was really small, and I would pick him up and hold him, and we would just kind of rock together, and he would go, hmm, 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 hmm. And he would just do that. He would just make that sweet sound for like, several moments at a time. And it's like, now it's like this really sweet memory because I would do it with him, and it was like this beautiful, fun thing. And I
Yeah.
always loved that. But that's what immediately came to me is like,
Yeah.
mm-hmm.
Stay there for another minute or two. Just forget everything and just enjoy it. The movement and the song. Mm-hmm. And the bubbly childlikeness that's in it. You just stay there. I'm going to say a few words. You stay there. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Allow yourself to believe that this is a spiritual experience. It's not like, oh, a dumb, playful child or even a playful child. Imagine that this is what spirituality is about for you. It comes from the child, not from the wise person. It comes from the child, the child's bigness, the child's song, the child's energy and bubbliness. The bigness of a child, not the bigness of a person who can move mountains. Bigness of a child. That's a very important quality. The golden child, the spiritual child. Believe in that with all your might. This is what I was looking for. This is why I went into that group. This is what I'm looking for now. This is the divine spark. I thought maybe it was going to look like something else. I didn't even see. It's like this for me. Somebody says, well, what do you mean? This is not a spiritual thing. This is just a child. Oh, no. That's the whole point. The child is so close to the divine. It's so important. We have a whole culture that's looking for the spirituality in a wise person sitting quietly and not forgetting the child who knows it until they lose it. Until they're saying, no, that's not the thing. You got to be something else. They lose that goldenness that they've always were in touch with. Yeah. Stay there another moment. I'm going to tell you something else about Sarah that I learned today. She says, I'm out of touch with my spirituality, but she started off saying, everything's beautiful in my life at the moment. And she got a little shy to say that. Everything is beautiful. I had money issues, they're gone. I maybe had relationship issues in my life, they're gone. I had other work things. Everything is beautiful, she said. That was the spiritual thing. Feeling everything is beautiful. Not just because the outer world has made it that way, but because she experiences it that way. That feeling of everything's beautiful, that was it. Yeah. It was already there. Just have to let yourself sing and bubble about it. Everything's so beautiful. Ah! And sway with it. Just that one more step that moves it from a real life experience and less spiritual experience. This is going well. I used to make $10, now I make $20 and da-da-da-da. You're moving from that to the more ecstatic, bubbly, big experience of it. That's the spiritual part of that experience. Part of it is because things are going well and I've learned so much. And a part of it is a spiritual thing that's happening in my life. I'm experiencing the beauty of everything again. Yeah. It's all already been there. It's just the normal eyes weren't seeing it. It's a money thing and a relationship thing and a spiritual thing. It's all happening. It's giving you the whole thing. Yeah. What a gift. What a gift to know it. Then the synchronicity. All the things will line up. All the stars will align for you to see everything is beautiful. And then you'll connect with that spiritual thing. And in another moment, you may lose it. But then you remember. You have to remember. Oh, that day when I was walking in the woods, or that day when I was meditating, or that day I was making love, or whatever they were doing. Oh, that, I remember that. I can access little bits of that over time. Be closer to that experience. Even when things are less good, I can feel that. But right now you're getting a gift from something. It's a spiritual gift in addition to a money and relationship gift. It's a spiritual gift. Yeah. It's amazing. It's really amazing what you're talking about. Unshaming the spirituality so it's not an image that somebody gives us, but our real connection. And people are different. People have all kinds of different connections. That's a good thing, right? But I got to tell you, one of the major things that's left out of the spiritual understanding is the child, even though in the Christian theology, the child leads the way. The child is not somebody that you develop so they can become an adult. The child is the way. That's Jesus, the child. I look up to that infant as my divine. Not like, well, the child, I have to help him develop. No. And that was in Tibetan Buddhism. They had the same thing. They look for the new Dalai Lama in the child. And they're not trying to help that child grow into, so they can turn them into an adult. They see the parent, in that case it's the father, that shouldn't only be in my mind. And then they see the father of their spiritual life in a child. They're nourishing that child, not like, I'm going to help you grow up, but like, I'm getting to nourish the person who's my great godparent of my spiritual life in a 6-year-old. Not amazing? Yeah. And they know it. That's what they're looking at. Yeah. That's how the child is supposed to be looked at. Oh, you're here. I'm not the wiser adult. You're close to the connection of life. You're my teacher. And I'm going to nourish you and feed you and protect you because I know you're the next step of my life. Otherwise, the whole child gets lost. And we think the child has to learn what I know. No, we have to learn what the child knows.
Yeah. There's this great book. I think the guy's name is William Martin, if I'm not mistaken. He wrote a book called The Tao Te Ching for parents. And there's this great little like poem where I can't remember exactly how it goes, but it's like, you don't have to make life extraordinary for your child. Like they already see, like the ordinary is so alive already for them. And you don't have to add anything, like just let the ordinariness of life be alive, and the extraordinary will just always take care of itself. And that's like I just reconnected with that. That was like, the ordinary is what, I mean, it's great to have extraordinary, like peak moments, right? Where my branches and flower and buds are reaching for the sky. And then it's nice to just like, I'm just Sarah too, it's nice to just be ordinary Sarah too.
That extraordinary experience, seeing the extraordinary in things, that's what the child is able to do. That's what you're able to do. That's a spiritual gift that you got. Somebody else would have a different spiritual gift, but you have that spiritual gift to see and then to be in a celebratory experience about it. And wow, isn't that incredible? We just saw a fart, and it smelled and everybody noticed it, whatever it is, right?
Oh my gosh. And this
this
is something I've learned a lot, like that child part of me, that playful part of me, especially as a coach, right? Like I used to think I had to be so serious and, all this stuff. And I'm like, I bring this to my, my sessions, but it's like, I hadn't really been enjoying it in my own self. And I'm just so happy. I'm so delighted to feel like, oh, it's for me too, in my own psyche.
It's slightly put down as childlike in the negative way, and you should grow up and be more serious, and you should. So something is putting it down a little bit. That's why you get to a little bit of an edge at the beginning and say things are beautiful, everything, and money, and then you go and you trail off. You didn't finish and that is how I feel lately. You couldn't go all the way because it's not quite. There's a little shame that enters, and like but that's not and it makes it something less than it is. It's really fascinating. Some people won't like this idea, but I got to tell you it anyway. But Carl Jung was in these conversations with the divine. I don't know if he called it God, or I can't remember what it was. But it's in his red book, which was his diary, and he was asking questions and getting answers from spirit or from the divine, and he did these amazing things. But they were real conversations he was having, and he asked about war. If things are meaningful, why war? What's meaningful about war? And the answer he got was, war kills warriors. And he said, what's good about that? And he said, the warrior energy, especially around World War I going to World War II, was so strong. He said, and it's too strong. He said, so we need the warrior idea of warrior. We all need some warriorship. The idea of warriorship needs to die off a little bit. And war does that. You go in as a warrior and the warriors get killed. And it needs to be psychologically done. And he said, what's so good about killing the warriors? And he said, the warrior is not close to the divine. The child is. He said, and if the warrior aspect of us, I'm going to conquer the day, I'm going to be amazing. He said, that's great. It's a great energy. But if it gets to be too big, we miss something. He said, because if that goes away a little bit, he said, the child arises. Why did the warrior have to go for the child arises? He said, because the warrior believes in capacity and ability. I'm learning. I can do. I'm smarter. I'm stronger. I'm more able. He said, those are good things, but that's not the spiritual connection. The spiritual connection comes from not knowing, like a beginner's mind, they would say in Zen, from the incapacity, inability. Then I'm relying on something else that's caring for things. Anyway, he had a whole philosophy about the child, again, being the central part of the psychological development. Isn't that incredible?
Wow.
The return of the child. You got my thing. I want to say so many things about that because it's been so important to me. Because all the elders I had before I learned from Arnie Mindell, some of you know him, all look like elders. Yes, I'm David. Yes, I'm very good at this UnShaming thing. I think you should hire me, right? And so I had this idea like elders were like that. And then I met a person who was like a playful child, but he was like one of the wisest people. He was a wise teacher. Like, that's so interesting. He doesn't look like Sarah, he doesn't look like a patriarch. He looks like I'm centered and reasonable and I have a lot of groundedness. And he looked playful and happy and silly.
The silliness.
Like, oh my gosh, this is so good for me to see. I thought I had to get over all that.
I think I thought for a long time I was too silly and like silliness needed to be overcome or, put away or something. And I'm like, I love that. I love silliness. I like playfulness seems to be okay for most people, but silliness, like that's like another level where it's like, oh, gone too far, like.
Need it. It's where the child dreams and imagines and plays and finds ways through the forest that the adults can because they're following the compass and the child goes whatever. Yeah. Something else happens in life. Yeah, it's amazing. It's a beautiful thing you're bringing forward for all of us. I'm serious. That bringing forward the child, stop hating the child, maturing the child, getting over the child, growing up so we can be adults. Great. When you're 16, you should want to grow up and be an adult so you can have a driver's license and you have to live with your parents. But at a certain point, it's not only great, Then we should be like, wait a second, I'm missing something. Yeah. Yeah. Beautiful, Sarah. It's incredible. We could have, just want to say something to you and to others. We could have gone back to the cult place to do the UnShaming, to find some part of you that was looking for something there. She maybe even found moments of it. It just wasn't only great. People go into abusive, violent relationships, and sometimes they go in for a reason. It doesn't mean they should stay. And sometimes they find a little taste of it in that person, except for there's a lot of other shit that comes with it that's not worth it. So sometimes shame enters in that way, like that's a bad experience, that was wrong, and then the whole thing gets thrown out. Right? The child with the bathwater, we could say, gets thrown out. So that's why I decided we should go back to the cult, because it's being looked at as a negative thing so much, and it is. But then we should find out somebody went in there looking for something. And we should believe in her. I don't have to believe in the leaders, but I should believe in that person. But we could have also started with the very beginning. Things are beautiful. And you had an energy about you, the same energy we saw at the end. We could have gone there because you got to a spot where it didn't go all the way. And so either one could have taken us to this place. They both are wanting to take us to the same place. Yeah. It's a beautiful thing. Going back to the things that we think were bad. This happens a lot with addictions. I used to be a drunk and an alcoholic, and I got over it, and now I'll never go near alcohol again, and And I always think that's great, and it's so good. Please don't ever drink again. It was hurting your life, and I'm so happy for you. And And now let's find out about that person who used to drink. Not like what was bad with them and they're undisciplined and what made drinking so appetizing. They got into a state. They were looking for something. We don't want to throw out what they were looking for. We just want to throw out the bourbon, you know, or whatever it was, you know.
Yeah.
You know, that's okay, but to throw that other thing out, yeah. Incredible. What a joy. I know you have, and I remember Kieran said we have to be tight on time. So,
Sure.
yeah.
No,
Yeah.
this was wonderful.
Yeah.
I feel like I brought that part of me, like I just went and got her and now she's with me and she's not so far away anymore.
Yeah. When you work with people, you got to think that silliness, playfulness, that's a divine, you have to see it as divine. If you see it as, this is really not good, I know I'm like that, but I really am also good and smart and stuff. If you treat it like with a condescension inside, that's not really, that's something I'm just like, and I'm getting more mature, I promise. If you treat it like that, people won't value it because inside of you it's being seen as not something that is the deep value of why I'm coming. But if you treat it, you have to say anything to yourself, anything about it to the outside, but if you treat it and see it like that way, you'll bring it forward and people will feel that they're in the presence of something divine just by that interchange. So it's not carried. That's what you're working on because you're so close to it anyway. It's not far away. It's not like you needed a lot of work to get to it. The main thing you're needing is the way it's being held and seen. You're in the middle of thinking everything's beautiful and not noticing that is the spiritual thing. Does that make sense? You're seeing the cult thing and not notice that's why you went there. So it's not hard for you to get to it. It's just something doesn't value it as a divine experience. That's the only tweak in your psyche. It's just literally being not witnessed. That's the unshaming, not witnessed for what it really is. You're looking at a divine thing, looking at gold and thinking, I don't know, it's not really worth very much. I'm like, that's gold, you know? So it's just the seeing, but you have the gold's already there. It's just wanting to be seen and appreciated in you, then it'll come out in different ways.
Yeah. Wow.
Just a subtle
So
shift in that way. Yeah. So cool.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Sarah, if you need to go, you're welcome to stay. But I'm going to see if anybody has a question they can ask. I'll try to answer it and spend a few minutes. And you're welcome to stay or watch the recording. But anyway, I know your timing was tight. So however you want to do that, Sarah, is good.
I can hop off the live with you and then I'll just rejoin to hang out in the, in the room, so to speak.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, cool. And I don't know how sure I'll hang on. If anybody though has a question, lots of love, Sarah.
Bye. Lots of love.
If anybody has a particular question that I can actually see, I'll try to watch it. Thanks, Tanya. Yeah. Isn't that amazing? The thing that's present, I would like to ask a question about shame with my partner. Okay, give me a second, Lisa. And let me just say another word about what's happening. That's a really special thing. She's really self-developed. She knows herself and she knows how to access things. So a lot of the unshaming work was easy in that I don't have to help her go into things and find the experiences of them. She's already in there. It's just the perspective. She's in touch with something deeply spiritual. It's just something went in her psyche, internalized, that didn't see it as a wonderful, beautiful spiritual thing. Saw it as something less than that, other than that. That's where the shame entered. That's where the spirituality got injured a little bit. Maybe even the cult, it got injured a little bit. We didn't go into that. But the injury is inside now. I don't see this as spiritual, but it is. Yeah. You witness the sacred child. That's right, Kieran. It's an incredible thing. The child is so dismissed. The child is hated. And I don't mean that intentionally. I hate children. But the qualities of the child, we're all trying to get ourselves out of that. I don't want to be a child. I want to be mature. I want to be centered. I want to be in control of my emotions. I want to be reasonable. I want to be logical. I don't want to get triggered. I don't want to get too weird. I don't want my anger to turn into rage. I don't want my anxieties to get too scared. But in all of those attitudes, if you can hear it, everybody, we start turning against the child because the child's anxieties are huge and their angers are amazing and they can destroy everything. I'm not saying you should destroy everything, but being in touch with the range and fluidness and hating that and wanting to get over all that, even wanting to get over the wounds. I don't want to be a child anymore. I'm a wounded child. I'm going to heal so I can be a solid adult who's responsible in the world. Great to be responsible in the world. But these ideas put together are against the child, and the child has medicine for all those things that we stop looking for. We end up hating the child, partially because many of us were hurt as children, and we're trying to get away from being a hurt child. Yeah. Anyway, somebody had a question about relationships. Ask me again. Oh, yeah, ask a question about your partner, and I'll do my best. Lisa, Hannah, is that? Oh, no, Lisa, ask the question I'm going to read on the screen if I can. If somebody else has a question about what we were doing, unshaming. That means believing that the medicine lives in the person and that shame is hiding it. And if I witness it with a loving way, that I'll start seeing it and the person will start seeing it and it'll just flower right in front of my eyes. That's the unshaming way. I don't have to teach her or anybody about what spirituality is, because I don't know what their spirituality is. Somebody else, it's a quietness in a cave. Somebody else, it's screaming and yelling and being an activist and finally being angry. Somebody else, it's being playful. Somebody else, it's touching themselves and feeling an orgasm. Somebody else, it's being celibate, right? We don't need a model of spirituality that is true for everyone. We need to find the spiritual center in our own lives and express that. Yeah. Lisa says, okay. Did you ask a question, Lisa? Or are you writing that down? You needn't, but if you still have it, I'll take my best shot at it. Okay. In 10 years, my partner has not managed to say sorry. Oh, no, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Lisa. I should say it then. I'm sorry. Sorry for that. The hurts that were caused you, the injuries, and then not being seen and respected. That means to make a genuine apology when someone's been hurt. Any perceived failure leads to disassociation. Some people can't handle looking at their own difficulties. That's not uncommon, by the way. Most of us, we have a whole, in America, we have a whole country based on what some people call exceptionalism. I can't see any of our faults, so it's very common. I find this hard. I want to help her connect so much, but I'm lost as to how to do that. I don't know how to do that either, Lisa. What I do know that, here's what I'm thinking. I don't know very much because we're not working together at the moment. But what I'm thinking about and feeling, Lisa, is your desire to help her connect might not be the most useful thing for you and her. I'm not sure. It's a good thing. It's a beautiful thing. But I'm inclined to say, disengage from wanting her to be different. Not from you deserving something. That's different. Not from accepting not getting that. Want the apology. Ask for it. Don't analyze that first and say, be as direct as you can. This is something that happened the other day or last year or this week. I got hurt by that. That injured me. It's still in me. I still remember it. If you could, dear partner, it would mean so much to me if you could say, I'm really sorry that I did that I treated you in a way that hurt you. I would ask that directly. Almost give them the words, and then they might not be able to do it. And if they can't do it, then you have a person who can't do that. And then what are you going to do, Lisa? Let's imagine your partner doesn't change about that, doesn't become a person who can give that apology. What happens if they never could do that? I'm not saying they never can, but I want to take you to an unshamed place, and that is what happens. It's not happening. It's been 10 years. Let's assume it doesn't for a moment. What happens if you knew for sure that doesn't happen? That person, the serenity prayer. That person doesn't do that. Then you go somewhere. you go to your own prayer life, your own spiritual life. And then that means in that relationship, you need more connection with that prayer life you're talking about. That doesn't mean that it's good. It doesn't mean you don't deserve it. It doesn't mean you always needed it from yourself and your partner shouldn't give it. It would be great if they did. You don't want to disown that, but you want to remember that connection with yourself. Less energy towards, I wish I could help you to change. More energy into becoming this prayerful human being. And that prayerful human being will have as much of an effect on your partner as you can have, meaning that may change her or not. Yeah, that's the direction. When we unshame the scene, we say, what if the scene is like that? What medicine naturally comes out of a deep acceptance of what's really happening, and out of you, some kind of serenity prayer, and a prayerfulness and a serenity that your system is looking for. That's a deep thing, and that's not about relationship. And that doesn't mean it's not a bypass thing. You can't say, and therefore it's fine, they don't do that, etc. You have to notice, oh, it hurts. There's some grief around that. I would like to have that. It's okay to want that. You don't have to get over that. Yeah. Oh, I'm glad, Lisa. I'm glad you brought that up. A lot of times people are looking for something in a partner that that partner doesn't have. And sometimes it's such a big thing, it's a game changer. I need safety and that person's brutalizing me. It's a game changer. I can't say I'll get along with that. Well, maybe some people can. That's up to them, not to me, right? But sometimes it's very important if something hasn't changed to think, what if I don't get it from that person? And every relationship has that. I have a relationship of 20 years. There are some things I have that are really important that I don't get from that person. I would like it. It would feel good. And her too. And then what do I do? Then there's a grief that comes in me because I really would like that. And then what happens for me if that doesn't happen? Where do I go when I give up that particular agenda? Then I go into my own feeling life, and my feeling life takes me places. And those places are important for me in that relationship. Maybe it means I get it from other people. Maybe I get it from friends. Maybe I get it from prayerful life. Maybe something in me deals with a loss and a grief that's always been in me, that wants healing for years. Things like that want to happen in those spaces. Yeah, cool. Thank you. Thank you, everybody, for hanging in and let people know about UnShamed Live TV. I should be announcing these things, and I forget to. I have so many little things on my mind. Tomorrow I'm teaching a course for Simone Soul and her container. Her container is called Home. She's amazing. If you don't know her, follow her on money and shame. And I'll probably do my own course, maybe an evening course, maybe a 2-3 hour thing some evening, maybe in August. It'll be a low cost thing for people to get some experiences. Lots of love, everybody. Bye-bye.